Kathleen Kennedy is officially out at Lucasfilm. We've been this has been predicted for years at this point.
It's a 10-year rumor that's finally come true.
I made news when I had heard within Disney that she wanted to go out on a win. A win might be, say, a big movie or whatnot, but she is officially gone. We've got several different articles that we'll reference. But right now, I just want to really talk about, the significance of this event.
Kathleen Kennedy. Bye, bye, bye. Kathleen Kennedy. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Bye, bye, bye. Hey. Bye, 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 bye. Hey.
Well, this changes nothing. What fans wanted out of Star Wars, at least the sequels, when this was announced, back in 2012, and then 3 years later we had The Force Awakens, December 2015, followed by The Last Jedi, followed by the conclusion, The Rise of Skywalker. I think what people were expecting was a sequel that featured legacy characters that were beloved. And my argument for anyone that says their story is done, they're too old. They made 6 Star Trek movies with an aging cast. And by the time they made the 6th one, many were in their 60s and 80s. Okay. Nobody complained. I mean, sure, maybe a joke here and there about the Star Trek cast being old. There was no reason to not tell a story of a Luke Skywalker. Let the legacy characters go out. Let them ride into the sunset. Let the Millennium Falcon fly into the star set, so to speak. And then let's introduce some new characters, say the son of Luke Skywalker, the daughter of Han Solo. Create new characters that connect to the legacy characters and then tell new stories with them. They couldn't do that. I don't think I need to do the 4 millionth rant about how this is the most costly mistake in Hollywood history. And the Star Wars franchise is forever destroyed. You can make all the baby Grogu, baby Wookiee, baby this, baby that, cute this, not going to fix it. A standalone film with Ryan Gosling, an actor I very much appreciate. I like Ryan Gosling. Not going to fix it. Not going to fix it. You had your chance with the sequels. You blew it. You blew it up. Alan, do you have any comments on the significance of this? And then we'll go to multiple stories. Go for it.
Well, I mean, her legacy is Rey Skywalker. Finally, the Skywalker legacy continues. But it's weird. It's kind of like we've been talking about this for 10 years of Kathleen Kennedy finally retiring. It happens, and I feel like, okay. And it's like, it's like we knew it was going to happen. And then you realize what's really going to change about Star Wars. You have
nothing, because the people left in charge were selected by her. Yeah. And Dave Filoni, who is a guy who makes cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With all due respect, on the level of cartoons, many were very good. He makes cartoons.
You mean the ones he did with George Lucas?
Correct. He made some very good cartoons.
Yeah. Notice the name missing from all these stories is Jon Favreau.
Right. I mean, if anything, Jon Favreau, who was in consideration to do episode 7, he was one of the directors considered, and he bowed out. He was one of the choices. So I don't know. Let's there's a lot of stories here. Alan, what more do you have to say? And then we'll get to this.
No, that's it. Let's do this article.
Let's do this. A shift in the force for Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, the exit interview. This is from Deadline, and Mike Fleming Jr. Give it to me, Alan.
All right, Kathleen Kennedy is preparing to step away from day-to-day leadership at Lucasfilm in early 2026, concluding nearly 14 years at the helm of one of the most scrutinized franchises in entertainment. She has spent the last 2 years carefully planning her transition with Disney leadership, ultimately handing creative control to Dave Filoni and business operations to Lin-Wen Brennan. Kennedy makes clear that this is not a retirement, but a return to her roots as a producer. After decades as an executive, she wants to focus again on making films, including future Star Wars projects, while also collaborating with her husband and producer partner, Frank Marshall. She describes this shift as liberating, driven by a desire to work on a wider, more eclectic range of films and to stay creatively present rather than perpetually planning the next corporate move. Candy acknowledges that steering Star Wars came with relentless pressure. Every creative decision was examined under a microscope by passionate and sometimes a hostile fan base. While she believes most fans remain supportive, a large but loud segment resists change and new storytelling directions, often creating fear among filmmakers considering entering the franchise. Looking ahead, Candy outlines a mixed slate of Star Wars projects at various stages of development. Star Wars Starfighter, directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Gosling, was designed as a standalone film rather than a start of a new series. A Mandalorian feature directed by Jon Favreau is next in line, while Simon Kinberg is developing what could be the new trilogy extending into the 2030s. Projects by Taika Waititi and Donald Glover remain possible, while others have paused. Candy also expressed excitement about emerging technologies, particularly AI. While stressing the importance of protecting artists' rights, she compares the moment to the early days of CGI breakthroughs that reshaped filmmaking, such as Jurassic Park, believing new tools could unlock visual storytelling possibilities that have not yet been imagined. Reflecting on her long career, Candy says she has few regrets, citing Solo, a Star Wars story, as one project she believes came too early. Given the difficulty of replacing an iconic character like Han Solo, otherwise she stands by her choices, emphasizing that boldness and risk are essentially to keeping a franchise alive and relevant. Ultimately, Kennedy views her legacy at Lucasfilm as one of stewardship and expansion, honoring George Lucas's original vision while pushing Star Wars into a new era, format, and audience. She hands the reins over to Filoni and Brennan. She does so with confidence, ready to embrace a new chapter centered on creativity, collaboration, and a simple joy of making movies.
Putting Kathleen Kennedy in charge of Lucasfilm was a colossal mistake. She clearly had an ulterior motive when she took over and did not use the outlines that George had provided for the Star Wars sequels. I would love to see those published. What was the originally intended fate for Han, Luke, Leia, Lando, the droids? Let's see a new adventure with them, and then have them go out, say, fly off into the hyperspace sunset as they pass the baton to a new generation. Easy. Check off the boxes of, look at what Terry Matalas did with the Star Trek Next Generation crew. That was handled so well. I can't believe he put it together after season 1 of 2 of Picard, which are nearly unwatchable. But this seemed like an easy task. But she seemed to have such disdain, as she does in this interview for the fans. No mention of the Rey movie. You notice that, Alan?
Yep.
Not one mention of the Rey movie. 0.
Mm-hmm.
She humiliated Daisy Ridley, brought her up on stage. There have been multiple stories, we won't go over them now, about a Rey movie. They've gone through screenwriters. To what end? Daisy Ridley is doing really bad indie movies, showing she has poor taste.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the Rey movie is a great example of why she was a bad executive, because she did the Rey announcement as pure politics. as a way to just say, hey, we're moving forward with Star Wars. Without, I don't think anyone who saw the announcement, saw who was involved with the announcement, really seriously thought that this was going to come to fruition. It was there just as a PR move. And to me, that is a sign of a bad executive. When you're making up stories just to keep your job. And that's what that felt like.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, how you could go through all the announced projects that didn't happen. The one with the Game of Thrones producers were doing a trilogy. Rian Johnson was doing a trilogy.
James
The Rey
Mangold was
movie.
doing,
James Mangold
yeah.
gonna do the Jedi
Knights of
prequel. Where's that? There are more than 10 projects that were announced and nothing happened. And the announcements were purely to what? Maybe keep her standing, keep her job, because if things are in active development, that's something.
Yeah.
Any good producer in Hollywood's got 10 plus projects in development.
Yeah.
Like a shelf of scripts.
Yeah, that's what that was her gift as a producer, was put things in development. And she put a lot of things in development at Lucasfilm. Nothing could cross the finish line. That was the problem.
Well, and then the projects that did were awful. I mean, the Solo movie, there was supposed to be a storyline that was going to spawn more movies.
Well, it was
it
was the Lord Miller cut. That's the one people want to see now. Why were Lord and Miller fired and replaced by Ron Howard?
Fired. Lord and Miller were fired. The directors of Project Hail Mary, coming in March of this year, they were fired with 2 weeks to go. And they ended with Ron Howard directing in a movie that ends with Han Solo in a gunfight in an office. Do you even remember the end of Solo? A movie I saw all of once.
Yeah. I don't even remember that.
In a fight in an office of the main villain. That is the very definition of uninspired. It was god awful. I don't think anything could have saved it. All of her creative decisions that she takes credit for are an embarrassment. And her being out, here's the sad thing. Here's the sad thing about her being out at Lucasfilm. Changes nothing. Star Wars is a dead franchise. The opportunity to reinvigorate a new generation of fans. I mean, look, when I say reinvigorate a new generation, I'm a fan of Star Wars. Yes, the old Star Wars prequels. They're fans of the prequels. Set that debate aside. You can like or dislike them, but there are young fans of the prequels. They like all those characters. That's great. I applaud that. One of the joys of being a father with my kids was being able to show the Star Wars trilogy for the first time to my kids and see them experience it for the first time, and then take them to the theater upon the re-release in the 90s. Was it 97? Okay. That was amazing. Building up to Phantom Menace in 99. It felt like Christmas. It was amazing. It was in May. Of course, the correct month to release a Star Wars movie is May, not December. And that was amazing. I passed along my love for those things. I mean, also other movies too. My kids are well informed from their father. No one's doing that now. No kid who saw the sequels is going to pass on, much less probably have kids. If you think of the kinds of fans who claim to love the sequels, do you think they're going to have kids and show them the Star Wars sequels as some sort of virtuous way to live your life? That was one of the things that always struck me about Luke's characters, his struggle to be a good person, to make the right moral decision. That was absent. And let's face it, Star Wars is a brand for young boys, 14-year-old boys who have almost nothing now being made for them. Nothing. Modern cinema has abandoned boys and men for the most part. I mean, you look at Marvel, you know, making a hard turn after what, 5-6 years of crap, 6 years of crap, trying to we're gonna have all these new characters, these diverse a lot of, hey, if they're good characters, and then all the promos for Avengers Doomsday, we're going back, folks. We know what you like. I think it's too little too late.
It's
But
funny.
Marvel could pull out Star Wars, it's done. The opportunity, we showed a clip of Mark Hamill from a few weeks ago saying, aren't you going to have a moment, JJ, put the band back together, Han, Luke, and Leia together? This story isn't about them. Thank God JJ has not worked since the Rise of Skywalker. Final thoughts, and we'll go to your comments.
Yeah. I mean, two things. One is I remember I took my daughter to see the sequels. This is all she really knows of Star Wars. Phantom Menace came out. She was a baby. Sequels. She saw the sequels. Hated them with a passion. And when I think when the second film came out, she was the same age I was when I saw Star Wars for the first time. The other thing is, when Disney made the change, firing Lasseter, they put Jennifer Lee as the head of Walt Disney Animation. They put Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm. And you felt right away that the only reason they were put in those positions was because they were women. And I think what we finally realized was that, it's one thing to be a producer or be a writer and be very good at it and produce, great movies like Kathleen Kennedy has, but it's another thing to run an entire studio, to be the head of it. And it's not to say that a woman couldn't have done it, but that wasn't the criteria that they were looking for. It was all about gender, and it was all about, well, can she possibly, anyone can be a studio head, as opposed to finding an actual woman who could actually run a studio, who knew how studios were run. I will tell you this, the last things that Kathleen Kennedy has produced for Disney Plus have been amazing. 2 documentaries of which she is a producer, the John Williams documentary and the Beach Boys documentary. Maybe there is something to be said about her stepping back to doing the role she was meant to do, and not the role that was foisted upon her, and which was head of Lucasfilm. So, look, I'm pretty sure she'll produce some great movies, and she's finally back to the role that she was meant to be at.
Well, it really is time to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
One last time.
Bye bye. Get Kathleen Kennedy. Bye bye bye. Get Kathleen Kennedy. Don't let the